Today's Friday, end of the week.
In 800 meters, merge onto Deerfoot Trail northeast, Alberta 2 south.
4 days till payday. Since now I'm a company driver, I'm an employee, so I'm literally living paycheck to paycheck. Whereas when I was my own boss, when I ran the trucking company, right, I was paid usually on the next day after delivery. So when I needed money badly, all I had to do was just find the load, deliver the load, get paid. Yeah, how times have changed. But anyway, good news at work, and as you can see, I'm driving a Freightliner. Feel like a real truck driver, almost driving a 5-ton baby truck. But yeah, what happened is that they were doing that working interview with another driver for a position of a part-time driver, 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the same they did with me. So basically you work for 2 days. I think they pay you like a minimum wage. I still haven't found out what happened to my pay. I think, yeah, they do pay you, but you know, it's kind of like an extended work interview so that you see what you're getting into, because you know it can be pretty physical with these with the scaffolding and stuff. And so then I saw that guy for 2 days with the lead driver who was training him, and then he disappeared. So I thought he decided not to join the company. But then the other day I was talking to a manager, and he says, well, now it should be easier for you, for me. He says, if you want, you don't have to work on Saturdays, because now we have a part-time driver who'll be working 3 days at the end of the week. But he says, if you want to, you can still volunteer, and of course they'll pay me. And so I need the money. And I told him, hey, if you need me this Saturday, well, I'm supposed to be off. I said, if you need me this Saturday, I can work like until lunchtime, which doesn't feel like a pain at all. You know, I actually like, if you watch my previous videos, I always liked driving on weekends with the last traffic, you know. And so that's good news. And I just saw, so I showed up for work. I have to punch in at 6:45 because the office opens at 7, so drivers have to punch in at 6:45. I punch in, I see the lead driver is loading a Freightliner with a scissor lift. I got 2 scissor lifts, and the new guy is in the pickup truck loading scaffolding. So basically that's the good news, is that end of the week now for me will be easier. I'll be doing less scaffolding because now we have 3 drivers. But of course we still have 3 pickup trucks, so if there's something urgent, they're still gonna, you know, pull you off. But I'm pretty sure now I'll be driving the Freightliner more often. And as you can see, the weather today is not very good. Actually, yesterday I was done probably at 3:45. I did all my runs, even filled up the truck, so now it shows full fuel, because yesterday was like 1/4 of a tank. And I asked the dispatcher, I said, do you want me to preload anything? Because that's, you know, what we do sometimes when like you don't have any work. I don't want to be in the warehouse, like it's not my job helping, you know, those guys. But I said, if you want, I can preload for tomorrow, like these 2 scissor lifts, because the dispatcher knew that there'll be these scissor lifts leaving, right? But then he says, okay, let me check the weather. He checks the weather and he says it's gonna rain overnight, and we can only put 1 truck inside, like one of these big trucks. When the weather's bad, they keep 1 truck inside, but not 2 trucks. And so he says no, it's gonna rain, or even they said it might snow, so we don't want to preload. We'll preload in the morning. And so I show up in the morning, grab a cup of Americano on the way in, And now the girls there, they know me and they make fun of me because one day I always order Americano because that's the cheapest one, and it's like a regular coffee with no milk, no chocolate, right? So yesterday I said Grande Americano upside down decaf, and the girl says 1/3 decaf, 2/3 decaf. I said no, all decaf. Okay, and then today I show up and I do an internal organ check psychologically, and I pull up to the window in the drive-thru and I say, okay, morning, can I please get 1 Grande Americano upside down, 2/3 decaf? And the girl, 2/3 decaf, same, and I hear it's same girl as yesterday, so same voice, and they recognize me. And of course, you know, they can look out the window when they talk to you on the radio, and they can see your car. So she probably already knows I'm driving a blue Jeep Compass. So anyway, when I show up at the window, the girl says, Sergei, and again, they know now my name, right? Because I'm using my phone to pay, and it shows your name, and so they remember. And so, and she said, Sergei, tell me, how do you figure out what to order? She says, like, how do you figure out whether to order a decaf or 2/3 decaf? And I said, you know, as I get older, I found that I'm getting more intolerant with caffeine, like, swear to God. Right, when I was a trucker, I would drink, I don't know, a cup like this every 2 hours, you know, maybe 3-4 cups a day, and I was okay. Now I drink a cup like this. If I drink full coffee, I'm feeling something in my chest, you know, some heart palpitations, I'm agitated, I cannot sleep at night. And so, and it's a fact, actually. I read online about this, that, which is funny, that, you know, when you drink so much coffee, right, as a trucker, you're supposed to get used to it, you know, kind of like alcohol. But no, coffee is the opposite. As you get older, you cannot drink as much because it affects you more deeply. And so that's what I told the girl. I said, based on how I feel in the morning. So today I feel better than yesterday. So we have 2/3 decaf means 1 regular shot of espresso and 2 decaf shots. But it still tastes better than regular coffee. It's kind of like cheating a little. It's kind of like non-alcoholic beer, and then you add a shot of vodka in there, you know? So anyway, oh, another interesting thing happened. So it did rain overnight, and so the deck of my truck was slippery, you know? But now I have the remote. They finally, like last week, I forgot to mention this. Last week, they bought a new remote and they sent me to pick it up. And actually, I checked the price. It was 350 bucks Canadian, of course. And then there was a sheet of instructions how to program it. So it was not $1,000 or $2,000. It was 350. And so now I can load by myself even when I need to use a winch, and that's what I had to use this morning. You know, I look at my paperwork, I see my stop 1 is the bigger scissor lift, which I have to deliver first, and stop 2 is a smaller one. So of course you have to load the smaller one first towards the cab, right? And my stop 1 bigger scissor lift, I loaded in the back. And so even the smallest one, I had to drive on this inclined deck, you know, pretty far, so close to the cab, and it started sliding on me. You know, didn't want to go up, so I shut down the stop button, it just slides. With wheels not spinning, it just goes down. like, so I had to use my remote, grab the winch, and use the remote unwind button, and drag the winch out, hooked up to the scissor lift, and then I was operating the winch and the scissor lift at the same time, so that, you know, not make sure the wheels are spinning a little bit, not to drag it all across the metal floor. And then the second one was bigger, so and I didn't have to go as much as high, right? So it would sit in the back. So I thought maybe the second one will be easier. It should not slide. No, same thing, slides. So I had to use the winch again. And when I was done, I went to the dispatch. I said, hey, I'm just leaving now. I said, sorry, it took so long to load. Do you have any pickups for me on the way back? Because when I was loading, she said no, she didn't have anything. But sometimes the situation changes, right? And so I went in and she says, no pickups, but if I have something, I'll text you. And so I grabbed a little bit of free house coffee and decided to do a video, because it's been a while. As you noticed, I'm sorry, but you know, I showed you guys, you know, what my work is, what I do, right? So it's either a pickup truck or a Freightliner. So in a pickup truck, mostly we load scaffolding and some small machines, and in the Freightliner mostly it's scissor lifts with occasional bobcat and occasional zoom boom, or some kind of a loader like the one I delivered the other day. So it is interesting, you know, every day is different. Even though I wish the money would have been a bit better, but the other day they sent me in a pickup truck with a trailer, with a small trailer, because there was so much scaffolding, and they gave me a helper, commonly known as a swamper. I'll grab a swamper. So I talked to the shop's foreman. I said, who can I take? And he says, take the kid. I said, the kid? And so they give me like the youngest guy who just joined like 2 weeks ago. And we start chatting when we're driving, and it was interesting. Like, you know, this guy just finished high school 1 year ago, then he took some time off, and now he's working. And he's actually he's a student at a college, and so he just does this for the summer, you know, to help out his parents that he lives with. So, you know, it's interesting. You meet a lot of new people at work, and most guys are fun to talk to. It's funny about the controls on this truck, you know, like the windshield is on the left stalk, I mean windshield wipers, which on my Jeep is the opposite, it's on the right stalk. Well, here you don't even have the right stalk. And so I find it's interesting that when I get into my Jeep after work and I want to clean up the windshield, by instinct my left hand goes to the left side, and on my Jeep it's on the right. And we're passing Road King truck stop. Wow, the guy has one of those you know, his gear shifter is like this. I don't know what's the fun in driving like that. He's driving like this. He's resting his right hand. Oh, he turned in there. The guy has a roll tight flatbed trailer with 4 axles, like a tridem, and then he has a small axle in the back which is lifted. Because here in Alberta, which is funny, I used to talk about this a lot, they don't allow lift axles on trucks, but they allow lift axles on trailers. And I see quite often flatbed step deck trailers have a small axle in the very back, which looks like, I don't know, 13,000 pound axle, just single tire, and it's lifted, like small wheels, because I'm guessing that gives them some advantage, especially when they cross into US. Okay, so I'm 5 clicks away from my destination where I'm dropping the biggest scissor lift. So I'm still thinking how I'm gonna unload it. I'll probably have to, because my deck is still wet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the rear chain off and take the binder on the front chain off, but leave the chain, and then tilt the deck and see if this thing will slide. If it doesn't slide, then I can drive it forward a little bit to release the pressure on the chain, remove the chain, and then drive it back. But if it starts sliding, I'll have to hook up the winch again. And that's the difference, in case somebody's wondering, between a roll-off and a tilt and load. And I asked the other driver, I said, why you guys didn't buy a roll-off truck? Because, you know, a roll-off, it's where the deck goes flat behind the truck. It goes flat on the ground. So it would be, if this was a roll-off truck, I would just put the deck right behind me. Basically, it's all level. It doesn't matter if it's slippery or wet. I can just drive the scissor lift straight on, secure it, and then put it back. But the problem is, and that's what the other driver told me, those rollback trucks, roll-off trucks, they need a lot of space, right? Because that deck goes all the way behind the truck, whereas on this truck it just goes back, I don't know, 15 feet, and then it tilts. So you save on space, but then you lose on you know, functionality in bad weather conditions, right? But that's why you have a winch. So especially with the remote, it was super. This was the first time I used the remote with the winch. Whereas before I had to use a helper when I didn't have the remote, and there was the same story, slippery deck. I had to get a guy from the shop to help me unwind the winch, because I was using the controls on the side of the bed, right? But now with the remote, one guy can do 2 jobs, right? I can operate the winch and I can operate the scissor lift at the same time, and make sure that, yeah, the wheels don't scrub against the floor. So I just operate the joystick just to create a little bit of movement. This feels like a busy area. Tim Hortons, Staples. By the way, it was funny how people people took me seriously. I was just joking. Like that's the slogan at Flying J Pilot, right? They have that slogan, best coffee on the interstate. And this is Canada. We don't have any interstates, right? Nobody calls them interstates. Maybe me occasionally. But I was just kidding. I was just thinking what title to use, you know, for the video to attract some attention without promising free beer. I hate when people, you know, give those fake titles that have nothing to do with the topic of the video. But this was, I did mention coffee, right? So that's why I put that statement in brackets, best coffee on the interstate, because that was a quote. But I was surprised to see that so many people took this close to heart. And of course in Canada we have lots of fans of Tim Hortons. Like, honestly, for me, I never saw the attraction, especially when they had the regular coffee. And then they came up, like maybe some, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, they came up with the duck roast. And so it became tasting a bit better. But before that, I don't know, call me crazy, but it tasted like water. It tasted like home brewed coffee, which is no good. And yet, every time they open a Tim Hortons, there would be a lineup, you know? There would be a second cup next to it, there would be a Starbucks sitting empty, but everybody would line up at Tim Hortons. I don't know. Actually, second cup sells great coffee. That's in, I don't know if they have it in the States, but that's another franchise, much smaller. Second cup, nice coffee. They have espresso, you can order Americano, you know, anything. And then another one, actually same level as Tim Hortons, like basically basic coffee, but I liked it much better because it had stronger coffee. It's called Country Style. Country Style. But it's difficult to find them. They started disappearing after Tim Hortons took over, but I do believe that Country Style, I don't know, it's, of course, it's personal preference, but for me it tastes better. And I still remember the time when Tim Hortons, they were being total idiots. Many guys don't remember this, but that's how old I am. They refused to take debit cards and credit cards. Like, that was so stupid, you know? Like, I think this was like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Everybody else would take a tap, right? Like in Canada, we're big on tap. You don't have to put the PIN number, you just touch your card. It has a little tap symbol. All our machines are tap machines. You just tap up to $100, you don't have to do anything, right? Like Starbucks was, you know, you can use the app on your phone, you can use your debit or credit card, you can use cash, whatever. Tim Hortons refused to take that, cash only. And I remember arguing with them. I said, guys, so what's going on? Or our manager says it'll take too much time, we'll have a big lineup. And back then, by the way, they didn't offer any food. It was only coffee and, you know, snacks like donuts, bagels, stuff like that. They didn't do full breakfast or full lunch, you know. And so they were saying that with debit cards and credit cards, it would take too long to cash out customers. But guess what? Then they started offering, I don't know what's wrong with me. They started offering all types of food. So now you can get a full dinner in there. You know, soup, sandwich, everything. And of course now the lineup is much slower. So finally, you know, after they started offering a lot of meal choices, they graciously agreed to take debit and credit cards. But it took them 10 years. So again, I don't know what's the hoopla is all about. The coffee is no better than any other coffee, and huge lineups. You always have to wait there for a long time to get coffee. I don't know. I like Starbucks. Yeah, it's more expensive, but the clientele inside, you know, you can go there, sit there for 2 hours, you know, read a book, play with your computer, nobody cares. And they have lots of the customers are much more interesting. You know, there's lots of students, you know, people you can talk to. The other day I was in a Chinese area, and there was a, because there was a big Chinese supermarket. There was a big Chinese supermarket, and there was a Tim Hortons in there, and guess what? All the Chinese are sitting there, you know, they use it as their social club. Okay, I think this is my place. Okay, let me make sure. Well, things turned out pretty good, considering a rough start of the day with those scissor lifts all sliding. But what happened here is that the customer told me the bay number, and he says ground, but then there's a, and he says drop it near the forklift. I don't see any forklift, so I talked to a girl that came for a smoke, came out for a smoke. I said, do you know of any of these guys, you know, and I see the name of the company, it's something to do with refrigeration. I said, do you know if these refrigeration guys are working here? Because I'm not sure, do they want me to drop it on the dock or on the ground? But then she was not sure. She says, go ask inside. So I went inside, and the guy in the shipping office says, oh yeah, just drop it on the deck. I know these guys, they're coming later. And so just back to the dock. No issues with slippering, didn't have to use the winch, right? Didn't even have to use my hydraulics, because I backed right next to the dock, and my chain was in the way, because the chain was in the very back of the bed. So I told the guy, I said, please wait, don't lift your, don't put the lip of your thing on the back of the deck, because I have a chain there. So I took the chain off, he lifted, and it was a perfect match. So again, didn't have to use the hydraulics, just undid 2 chains and started the scissor lift and drove it back. And of course they don't want us to be in the basket when you're at a certain height, right? So I just grabbed that controller and did the safety pin and put it on the side of the machine, and I was just walking next to the scissor lift as I was operating the joystick. So now I feel pretty good about these scissor lifts. Like, you know, I used to do this, right, a long time ago when I was in a tow truck driver, but you know, you forget things, just like Mr. Biden, right? So we all have memory issues. Well, maybe not as bad as him, but you know. But so it took maybe, I don't know, 3 days when I started this new job. It, like, first day I forgot how to start them. I was making mistakes. I see error message because I didn't turn the key on the base in the proper way. So now I feel pretty confident about these scissor lifts, except I don't like it when they start sliding, because the tires are kind of like, almost like race tires on cars, you know. They have no tread. Now here's an interesting situation. I'm in the outside lane, so yeah, I cannot turn because I was sure that car was turning. Okay, this guy is turning this way. Okay.
Continue on 52nd Street southeast south for 1.5 kilometers.
And so then I check my second delivery. It's only well, actually it was like 20 kilometers away, going west side of Calgary. I called the guy because my paperwork says call the customer so that he can meet you on site and show you where to drop the machine. And so I did that, called the guy, he says, yeah, I'm already here. And I always ask him, I said, is this a house or is it a commercial building? Like, you know, what am I looking for? I see another Tim Hortons. I'm telling you, I don't understand the attraction. And also these guys, another minus or another disadvantage. Let's say I like, you know, going to a place where there's people, so that I don't want to sit at home, you know, especially when I was a trucker, right? You spend 10 hours by yourself in the truck, and let's say I come home, or back then it was a hotel, right? I didn't have an apartment or a house, so why would I sit in my hotel room all by myself if I just spent 2 weeks on the road, you know, with occasional stops at the truck stop? You know, you want to be with people, you know. Human beings are social beings. Now that's what I like Starbucks, because it's kind of like my own club, you know. I go there, the girls know me, and the guys, you know, they know me by, they call me by name. Hey, morning Sergei, so what is it gonna be today, you know? And I had the same story back in Cambridge, Ontario, right? So I was going pretty much to, there was 2 Starbucks coffee shops. I would go to either one, just grab my laptop, and I would sit there, you know, till lunchtime usually, because I was trying to find a load, or was just having some fun watching some YouTube videos, I don't know. But you try to do that at Tim Hortons, and some of them just, they have a sign, you know, maximum stay 20 minutes. Basically they hate customers, you know. And then they have no, you try to find an outlet, like electric outlet, where to hook up, let's say you have a laptop, right? You will never find one, because they don't care. They don't want you to sit there for 2 hours, right? At Starbucks there's a electric outlet pretty much at every table, and of course they have free Wi-Fi, you know, so if you want to use that. So my truck looks like that from the outside, except this guy has a fixed bed. I can see it's not
400 meters, turn right onto Glenmore Trail.
It's not a hydraulic powered bed. So this is just a regular haul truck, except it's same as me, like a 5-ton. It has,
Turn right onto Glenmore Trail.
just has a single axle in the back. So now we're switching.
10 kilometers.
Oh wow, 10 kilometers on this. But the speed limit is 80 kilometers, not miles per hour, mind you, my American viewers. But yeah, it's funny that it doesn't say like what units, right? It doesn't say kilometers or miles, just number. But actually, when you enter Canada from US, there's a couple, you'll see usually at the border, there'll be a couple of signs, you know, to the effect that here we use kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour, so be careful when you know, read the speed limit signs. And it'll say 100 kilometers an hour equals 60 miles per hour, which is BS because it's actually 62.15. So you can drive 62 miles per hour and still be legal. And so yeah, when there's no pickups, so I only had 2 deliveries, right? So now I'm gonna do my second delivery, and then I just return to base, as they say in military movies. I return to base, and either they'll have another delivery for a Freightliner, or usually there's rarely 2 in a row, so they might tell me, hey, grab a pickup truck and deliver. Like recently I've been delivering some weird machines, you know, like a small thing like a jumping jack, or something they used to polish the pavement with, like a big circle. Looks like a kind of like a saw but with a circle, and it just smooths things out. Like lots of weird machines I never knew existed, you know. Oh, and the funny delivery yesterday was, I think it was my first delivery. I look at the paperwork, it says platform cart, pneumatic wheels, and to the side it says 4. And I didn't have coffee yet, so I'm thinking, okay, so what is this, like a 4 wheels? Oh yeah, and the dispatch says, yeah, just pneumatic wheels. And so I go inside the shop and I talk to the boss there, you know, who knows all these, he knows all the machines, all the tools. And you see they have a rule here that when there's this happening, you cannot drive more than 60 kilometers per hour, and you're supposed to change lanes if you can. And so I go inside the shop, I talk to the boss there, to the shop manager. I say, hey, dispatch said it was just 4 wheels. And he looks at me, he looks at the paperwork, he says, no, it's a cart, like that one. And he shows me the one, it's basically higher capacity, it can take, I'm guessing, higher payload, but just like a cart with on 4 wheels with a big handle. And then we checked the tires, one was flat, so he adds air in there with he has a hose with a, you know, with a gauge. And so I load that one, but then I look closely at my paperwork, like I was wondering about that number 4. Like, wait. So I go back to the shop guy, I said, can you help me interpret this? So it looks like there's 4 carts, not 1. And he looks at it and he says, I think you're right, yeah, so you need 4 carts. Like, holy moly. So somebody rented 4 platform dolly carts, and it was the customer was some kind of a sports club, like a curling club. So we were joking. I said, what they're gonna use it for? They're probably gonna move some rocks, you know, on the ice or something. So yeah, that was an interesting delivery. And of course I used just the pickup truck, and what's cool about these dollies is that the big handle comes out. There's no pins, no nothing. It just sits in there with the help of gravity inside the, you know, like a short pipe. And the handle is also made of pipe. It just goes in there. And so I took out those I took out those handles, otherwise the dollies did not fit into the bed, and I put them on the side. Put one strap around the last one so that they don't kick around in the box. And found that curling club. The guys were happy to see me. Looks like they were moving a bunch of some kind of boxes inside, so that's why they needed these, you know, dollies to help them move stuff inside this big building, like a warehouse. And you see what happens here? Like this thing, we have to fix this. So the lock does not hold the steering column. I mean the wheel. So it's really annoying when you brake and this thing goes down. All right, now I'm looking for 14th Street. 14th Street. I wanted to test my air horn because this truck has an air horn, but there was this guy next to me. Usually I like doing these tests under overpasses, but I didn't want to scare the guy because this one is actually pretty loud. Sounds awesome. I used it a couple of times so far. Yeah, automatic transmission, man. Makes things so much easier in a city. Like on the highway, I don't think it matters, but in the city,
14th Street southwest south, 3 kilometers.
yeah, I was just waiting for my GPS to tell me what's my next turn. Is it left or right? So I was in the left lane, and then I saw it says in 3 kilometers you're turning right. So that's why I changed the lane. Because I think later on we're losing that lane. I think it'll become 2 lane or something, but if not, I'm gonna go right. Oh, and this hospital, been here before. Once I delivered food here to a doctor for Uber Eats, or was it DoorDash or something, and then 2 other times I was here in a pickup truck. I think I delivered like a dolly cart or something for a guy. This is Rocky View General Hospital. And this is where I got lost the other time. Like, from there you cannot go here, which is funny, right? A regular intersection, but if you're over there, you can only go right. You know, from those houses. Okay, looks like I should change lanes probably. Make the guys on the 2 left lanes happy. Oh yeah. But the speed limit is 70 over here, 45 miles per hour. And that's my job, right? Load, secure, deliver, return to base, turn in the paperwork, see if dispatch has anything else. If it's a pickup truck, I have to park the Freightliner, put the key on the board, grab the other key for one of the pickup trucks, and go see if it's scaffolding, load scaffolding, if it's some small machine. See, I remember this, that something was happening here with the right lane. See here, it's exit only, and then here we only have 2 lanes. Still pretty chilly. It's still +4 Celsius, which is what, like 36, 37 F. So I had to put on my jacket on top of this jacket, like, I mean, a vest. I put in my kind of like a hunting vest with some, yeah, there's some padding underneath. Oh, and I'm almost there. 800 meters away from my destination. Now the guy should meet me there. I told him what I'm driving, so I said, you'll see a 5-ton truck. If I don't see you, if you don't see me and I don't see you, I'll call you. But I'm guessing this will be, I'm guessing this will be delivered to the ground delivery, which means I have to tilt the bed and probably again deal with the winch. Oh, I know what this is. I've been here before. Yeah, it's a big, kind of like a cultural center, basically. It's called a leisure center. A leisure center. So last time I picked up also a scissor lift here. I think it's somewhere in the back there. That's where they usually.
On 19th Street Southwest.
That's usually where they drop off stuff. So delivery went smoothly. I didn't have to use the winch because my deck was, even though it's still drizzling on and off, but my deck was dry. I'm guessing because of the wind. But now it's slippery again. But back when I was unloading, it was dry. So it helps that I've been here before, right? So I told the guys on the phone that I said, hey, I'm in the back where all the garbage bins are next to the field, and they knew exactly where I was, and they said, yeah, we're just parking our truck, and they're in the back there getting ready, and they have all these 2 guys, and they have all kinds of strapping systems, you know, because that's how you're supposed to operate these. If you're on top, you have to have a safety harness. But actually, wait, they probably need, yeah, that's only if you are above 10 feet. So because
200 meters, turn left onto Southland Drive Southwest.
they're gonna use that scissor lift, right? That's a 32 foot, so it can go as high as 32 feet. So that's why they need that harness. Okay, can I get out this way? Hopefully. So yeah, I just tilted the bed, drove the machine off, didn't have to use the winch. And just as I was, I punched in the return address for the yard, and I see there's a new text message. And the text message says, Sergei, could you please grab this one on the way back? And there's a copy of the pickup bill or delivery bill. And I take a picture with my phone because I have to use that smaller phone for, you know, directions. Man, yeah, I'm not gonna make this corner. It's gonna take me a couple of attempts. Alright, just one. And basically what I understand, these guys have there's a hockey arena here, so I see lots of kids with sticks and huge bags. And so yeah, I took a picture of the address and the instructions, and I'm going to downtown. Yes. Exciting times. At least now it's only 9 o'clock.
Turn left onto Southland Drive Southwest.
I believe. Yeah, like 9:10, 10 after 9. So should be okay. My instructions tell me what, like, the instructions often are pretty good. They tell me what street, like, even though the address is let's say on 6th Avenue, but the paperwork says look for the dock off 5th Avenue. And so of course avenues, kind of like in Chicago, avenues here goes west to east and streets go south to north. And so 5th Avenue is before 6th, right, just south of it. So I put in the actual address for the 6th Avenue, but once I'm closer to my destination, I'll have to be on the lookout for the turn. See how I can find that bay door. But I have the guy's name, I have his phone number.
Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto 14th Street Southwest. Signs for Trans-Canada Highway, Alberta 1 West.
Yeah, so once I'm there, I'm gonna find parking somewhere, just put my flashers on and just call the guy and say, hey, I'm here. Where exactly do you want me to go? And it's another scissor lift. I think it's the same size as the, like a big one, same size as the first one I drop off on the dock. And because I saw that the deck was getting slippery again, I rolled out the winch cable and hooked up the hook at the end. In the bed I have a hole, so then the hook can go in, and then I
Left 2 lanes to turn left onto 14th Street Southwest. Signs for Trans-Canada Highway, Alberta 1 West.
then I just tightened the cable slightly so that the hook doesn't fall out. But basically now I'm ready if I need to drag something, if it's, you know, if it resists and starts sliding all over the place, I have the winch ready. The only problem I have to remember is that that hook, it sticks out underneath, so I gotta remember not to put the bed down with the hook in that hole, because I can break the hook. So we'll keep rolling till the battery still has juice. And in other news, I've been enjoying my Jeep with some renewed power. I'm telling you, it does feel, it picks up speed a bit better with that filter I put in, that K&N filter. And the sound became slightly deeper, which is a welcome change.
Continue on 14th Street Southwest for 3 kilometers.
Yeah, and I'm guessing now we're heading north, and then we're gonna jump on Glenmore Trail, which will take me east towards the downtown. Now look at this car on the left. That looks like my old Hellcat. But that's not a Hellcat. That's just a regular V6 Challenger. And how do I know? Because it has no logos on the fenders, and also it's pretty tall, like Challenger 392, you know, Scat Pack, and Hellcat, they're much lower because they have different suspension, but same color is what I had. Sometimes I think about that car, but that was just crazy, you know, the payments. So I only did what, like 3,000 kilometers on it, but always wanted to try owning a Hellcat, and I reached my goal. Okay, we're approaching kind of like downtown somewhere here. And it's cool that my GPS says I'll be turning on 6th Avenue. Sorry buddy, but the guy on my right decided to go into my lane. So this guy got scared because I had to wiggle a little bit because of this Buick on my right. drizzling on and off. Oh, I can see the TV tower. So we are close to downtown. Wow, nice views from here. I'm in the middle lane because I'm pretty sure I remember there was something about the right lane. I think it's closed. Up ahead there's construction. So I still have 2 kilometers to drive to my turn onto 6th Avenue Southeast. I see the right. I was right. So this lane is closed. I keep looking at these, you know, this light transit that kind of like a streetcar, but it's fast away. They have these nice stations all over the place. You can get to any type, any part of Calgary using this. What is it called? Light transit rail. I think it's called LTR. And usually it's like 3 or even 4 cars hooked together. You know, one of these days I should probably take a trip and just record. Look at there's a girl with a bloodied face. Well, but it's like paint. And she's carrying a saw in her right hand. I kid you not. Is there some kind of a festival? I'm not sure. Now look at this guy. Yeah, there's some kind of a probably some kind of like a horror movie festival or something. I don't know. But the girl had blood paint on her face and like some injury on her arm, and she was carrying a saw in her right hand. Oh, we're almost there. So I am turning right in 800 meters onto 6th Avenue, and the paperwork says it's Winners, like, you know, the big store, Winners. All right, I better concentrate here.